सतगुरु सरकार की जय. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. To 5 more minutes of Kirtan. बोलो नथवारी प्यारी की जय जय जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की जय. बोलो बरसाने वारी की जय जय जय. बोलो बरसाने वारी की जय जय जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की जय. बोलो श्यामा प्यारी की जय जय जय. बोलो श्यामा प्यारी की जय जय जय. बोलो श्यामा प्यारी की जय जय जय. बोलो जय जय जय. बोलो श्यामा प्यारी की जय जय जय. बोलो श्यामा प्यारी की जय जय जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की जय. बोलो बेसरवारी की जय जय 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 जय. राधे रानी की जय. महारानी की 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 जय. बोलिए राधा रानी महारानी की जय. वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. The question that I will take up first is, what is the definition of sin? पाप किसे कहते हैं? The answer Maharaji gives is, the brief definition of sin is that when your mind is attached to anything or anyone, with the exception of pure things, then that is all sin. In other words, only God and saints are pure. For the time that we are attached mentally to God and Guru, we are protected from committing sins. Other than that, wherever the mind went, whatever we did, it's all sin. So much so that loving the mother, loving the father, loving one's mother, loving one's father, loving one's wife, husband, daughter, son, wherever your mind is attached in the material world, it's all an act of sin. But if you say that your mother is a Mahapurush, she is a saint, then it's not a sin to have your mind attached to her. If you say that your son is a saint, he's God realized, then go ahead and love him. You will attain God realization. That is not a sin. So this means that as long as our mind is attached to pure personalities, only God and Guru are pure, then we are not committing sins. As soon as we take our mind away from God and Guru, then all we will do is to commit sins. You may think, what sin did I commit? 99.9% people of the people, when they sit alone by themselves, they think to themselves, I haven't committed any sin. He's committing sins day and night. What else is he doing? Our aim should be to meditate on God, to think about Guru. Whatever else we do, it's all sin. And the consequence of all those actions is that we will wander in 8.4 million forms of life. There are 5 mahapap, 5 greatest sins. Swarnasteyi surapayi brahmaha guru talpagah mahanti patakanyahu tatsansargascha panchamaha. Swarnasteyi, stealing gold from someone. It's a great sin. Surapayi, to drink alcohol, is a great sin. Brahmaha, to kill a virtuous Brahman, is one of the mahapap, one of the biggest sins. Guru talpagah, to have feelings of lust towards a guru's wife, is one of the greatest sins. And the 5th greatest sin is committed by the one who associates with these people who commit these sins. The consequence of performing these 5 mahapap, 5 greatest sins, is that you will have to revolve in 8.4 million forms of life. And there's no atonement that, oh, if I give charity, if I do a yajna, Vedic sacrifice, then I will be atoned. I will find atonement. I will be forgiven that sin. These 5 mahapap are such that there is no atonement. Then there is a sin which is even greater than the 5 greatest sins, and that is nama parad. Nama parad means having ill feelings towards God and saints. To think of God or a saint to be under the control of Maya, to think him to be an ordinary human, to insult him or to hear someone else insult him. All of these are greatest nama parad, greater than even Panchmahapap, the 5 greatest sins. There is no atonement for these sins. We can be forgiven, but only through the saint. The one we have maligned in our mind, only he can forgive us. You will have to shed a lot of tears before God and before that Mahapurush. You'll have to promise not to commit the same mistake twice. You have to promise not to commit the sin again. Then you're forgiven. So these are the 3 kinds of sins, offenses, and sins. And then there are smaller sins like telling a lie. And out of those smallest sins, the topmost sin is to make someone unhappy. Par pida sam nahi adhamahi. Tulsidas Ji says, to give sorrow to another. That could be your mother, your father, your brother, sister, wife, husband, or neighbor. It could be anyone. If you are trying to make them miserable, if you're giving them cause to be unhappy for our own happiness, then that is the biggest of all the sins. So when it comes to smaller sins, the biggest sin is parapida, to bring harm to another. And beyond that are the 5 mahasin, mahapap, 5 greatest sins. And beyond that, those 5 greatest sins is nama parad, for which there is no atonement. So then understand that as long as our mind is with God and Guru, we are protected from committing sins. We're protected from Maya. As soon as the mind comes away from them, then we will only think sinful thoughts. We will only commit sinful acts. And at the very least, we will think sinful thoughts. Because in the area of God, whether you think it or actually go ahead and execute that action, the consequence is the same. We think, we think of sinful thought. Then we go ahead and actually perform that sinful act. We actually go ahead and do it. And God is noting down all the time. He doesn't take note of the actions, external actions. He takes note of where your mind is. Shri Krishna said to Arjun, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Arjun, keep your mind on me at all times while fighting the battle. You can commit hundreds of thousands of murders, but you will not be considered sinful. Sin cannot touch you. So in this way, I've given you a very brief definition of the word sin. So Shri Krishna says, keep your mind attached to me and then go ahead and fight the battle. You can commit millions of murders, it will not be considered a sin. So I have told you a brief definition of sin, but all you have to understand is that you must make utmost effort, as much time you have to dedicate to this, that you must keep your mind attached to God and Guru, Mahapurush, Saint. So you will be protected from committing sins. This is like your samadhi. Like Gyanis, impersonalists, they enter the state of samadhi. And as long as the Gyani is in the state of samadhi, he is protected from Maya. In the same way, as long as we are thinking about God and Guru, as long as we are meditating on God and Guru, we are safe. We're safe, we will not be committing sins. But as soon as we come away from the thoughts of God and Guru, Maya gains hold of us, it controls us. You know, if you are being followed by bees and you're running, they will get to you. You can roll around on the ground. You will not be protected from them. But what you must do is to submerge your body underwater. Then the bees cannot come in the water and you'll be protected from them. But as soon as you come out of the water, you come to the surface, the bees will sting you. In the very same way, as long as our mind is in God, connected to God and Guru, as long as it's thinking of pure personalities, we will not be committing any sins. We will be safe from Maya. We'll be safe from lust, anger, greed, and attachments. But as soon as we come away from God and Guru mentally, we start committing sins. That is the answer. So we talk about, we talk about sins. What is a sin? Telling lies is a sin. Hurting another person is a sin. Murdering someone is a sin. All these are sins, but our Hindu scriptures give a very vast definition of sin. They just take an overall definition of sin, and that is forgetfulness of God is in itself sin. It's only when we forget that God is watching us at all times that we bring harm to another, or we tell lies. We forget at that time that our dear Father is always noting down what we are thinking. So forgetfulness of God is a definition of sin. Next question is, what is the nature of Karm? What is Karm all about? First, understand that Karm has, there are two kinds of Karm, two kinds of action. One is physical action in which there is no attachment of the mind. The mind is not at all attached, only the body is performing the work. And another karm is the one in which both body and mind are attached. The sense organs are involved and the mind is also involved. But there's a third type of karma, and that is the one that's done only with the mind. And you people perform all these three kinds of works. You can say that there are three kinds of actions. You can also say there are two kinds of actions. One is material, the other is godly. And Maharaji has said, please pay lots of attention here. पहले माइक कर्म जो आप लोग करते हैं उसे समझ लीजिए. First let's understand the worldly actions that we perform. This is the work that we are doing with our sense organs using parts of our body, and the mind is not at all attached to them. And this is these kinds of actions, you are performing mostly these actions. In the world, when you're performing this kind of action, the people of the world call it that they would say to you that you are observing etiquette. You're being very formal. A politician dies and everybody is bowing their head and they're grieving. This is the work of the sense organs. This is not the work of the mind. Mind is not involved. You are visited by, you have some guests, unexpected guests. And they're useless people that you have nothing to gain from them. They come to your house at midnight. So you welcome them out of formality. You even cook a meal for them at that late hour of the night. You do all this, but your mind is not attached to any of these works. The mind is thinking, when will these people leave? When can I get some shut-eye? So this is one kind of action in which the mind is not involved or attached. And the second kind of action is the one that you are, let's say you're sitting on your chair, you are laying in your bed, and nobody else is at home, you have lots of time, and you are thinking. You're entertaining thoughts of love, you're entertaining thoughts of animosity, because that's the only two things you think about in your free time. You cannot involve your sense organs in that work, and you're all alone. So if there are two people, then you'll be talking to the other person, you'll have a conversation, you'll badmouth someone, you'll praise someone else. But when you're by yourself, you only use the mind. जब आप अकेले होते हैं, अकेले आप केवल मन से चिंतन करते हैं, अच्छा या बुरा, वही दो चीज, राग या द्वेष. You can do very good chintan, you can meditate on, you can think about something very good, you can think about something very bad. You can love and animosity. You cannot think of anything else. You will either attach your mind to someone with feelings of love, or you will attach your mind to someone with feeling of enmity. That's all. The third kind of action you are doing, you are experienced in doing that. You do it daily. These are the actions in which the mind and the sense organs are both involved. For instance, let's say you're hungry and you're eating food. You're taking the rasgulla by the hand and you're putting it into your mouth. You're chewing, you're swallowing. So the mind is attached and the sense organs are performing the action, the karma. You experience these three kinds of karma in the world. If you take these three and you divert them towards God, towards the godly area, then even there are three kinds of karma. For instance, the actions performed only by the body. The mind is attached to mother, father, children, wife, husband, wealth, and outwardly he is doing puja, he is worshipping the deity. And he's a priest. He's in the mandir, he's in the temple, and he is doing that devotion only with the body. The people that who are hired, they get paid and they're hired to do kirtan. And this is what's going on these days. It's a fad. It's fashion these days that people invite others. They invite others. They hire others to do kirtan. And when you listen to their voice, you'll get an idea of what they're doing, what their heart, what their mind, where their mind is. Mosam deen na deen hit tum saman raghubir. That fellow is saying, Mosam deen. Now, there is no one as wretched as myself, and tum saman raghubir. There is no one more merciful than yourself. There's no one as bad as I am. There's no one as great as you are. He's saying this, but he has no idea what he's saying. The 3-4 shlokas that I tell you to recite after Aarti, you're reciting them. That's all. So to do puja with your hands, to use your tongue to chant from the scriptures, recite the scriptures, do jap, taking the prayer beads, letting them slip through your fingers, doing kirtan, doing pranam, going like this in front of God and Guru. All these are works of the sense organs. But the mind is not with God. It's not attached to God. We find it impossible to think about God and to do Rup Dhyan for even 1 minute. There's a mantra in the Vedas, Purans. Apavitra pavitro va sarvavasthangato piva yasparet pundarikaksham sabahya yantara shuchi. Pada Puran. All the Pandits recite this verse. Whether they're doing puja or they are reciting from scriptures or doing a yajna, fire ceremony, they say to the host, now Yajman is the host, take some water in your hand, takes the water in his hand, and now take touch this water, touch the container which holds the water, okay, and then throw it up in the air. He does that. And look, the pujari is reciting the mantras. But what is the meaning of the mantra? Oh, well, it says that whether you're impure or pure, no matter which direction he's facing, could be the dirtiest of places, his body may be very, very dirty, but if he meditates on Shri Krishna, then he becomes purified, supremely purified, internally as well as externally. This is the meaning of the mantra. But I ask you, is there anyone in millions and millions of people who understands the meaning of this verse, who while throwing the water thinks about Lord Krishna? No, there is no such person, because he cannot afford to meditate on Shri Krishna because Panditji is reciting next number of mantras. He cannot do that. So now let's move forward. Without remembering God in the mind and just working, doing the worldly works, daily chores, this is a physical work. You do not attain the fruits of those actions. There's no fruit. It's like nothing. Now there's another action in which the mind is involved. You know about these actions also. Sometimes you're sitting by yourself and you start thinking about God. Your mind stream goes towards God. And you think to yourself, who knows if I'll have tomorrow to live? I must do some devotion. I must meditate on God. So while you're sitting on the chair, you close your eyes and you're doing Harinam Sankirtan. Only with your mind. And Rup Dhyan. And if you have Rup Dhyan and you're doing Sankirtan both together, and you do this from time to time, sometimes Maharaji is saying about himself, Kripalu has given up. I've told you day and night to do Rup Dhyan, but you're so careless that you don't do it. Maharaji is saying that he is telling us, emphasizing doing Rup Dhyan, but he's saying, but you people are doing it sometimes only. That's because of your carelessness. So we have an idea of these three kinds of actions, even in the world. And in the godly area, we also have the experience of these three kinds of actions. And out of these three, two are main ones. One is the action in which the mind is attached. The other one is an action from which the mind is detached. There's no attachment of the mind. Now, put these three actions into two, divide them into two. The mind is attached to God, and he's also doing his duty, his chores. That's one possibility. The other is that your mind is attached elsewhere, and you're performing an action elsewhere. So this happens in both the area of Maya and in the area of God. In the worldly area, your mind is attached to the godly work that you're doing, and the mind is attached to God, and your actions are worldly. They're actions of Maya. And the second action is that your mind is attached to God and you're doing worldly work. But you may ask, how is it possible for someone to do the works of Maya while their mind is completely attached to God? Yes, you cannot understand this, that the mind is attached to God and the actions are being done also, and very subtle actions, and actions of lust, anger, greed, attachment, envy, animosity. That saint is fighting a battle. He's killing others. All this people of the world are seeing. The whole world is watching. The entire world is a witness. Hanumanji was such a great saint. Each and every pore of his body would utter the name of Ram. But he committed murder. He murdered millions of Brahmins from the family of Ravan's family. He burnt the entire kingdom of Lanka. So these actions are deplorable, but his mind is with Bhagwan Shri Ram. God therefore did not note down the murders. He did not take note of it, because that's not an action. It's not a karm in the first place. The action that is performed without the attachment of the mind, those actions are not called karm in the eyes of God. They are not considered to be karm. And God does not take note of them. Performing them is like multiplying into zero. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 100,000 equals 0. 0 times billion, end result will be 0. There's a story told in the Vedas about the gopis. Once the gopis observed a fast, and they went to Shri Krishna on the other side of the Yamuna. They went to Shri Krishna and they said to him, so the gopis are fasting and they want to break that fast. So they want to go to the other side of the Yamuna to feed Durvasa Muni, because it is believed that the fast, she has refrained from food for so long, and then now she has to break the fast by feeding someone holy. So they asked Shri Krishna, how can we get to the other side of the river? Because we've heard that you are a yogi. Some say you're God. And if it is true that you are a yogi or God, then tell us how we can get to the other side of the Yamuna. We cannot get anyone to take us across at this time of the night. And we also needed to break our fast by feeding a saint. And you are saying, they're calling out, they're speaking to Shri Krishna, you're saying that the greatest saint is Durvasa right now. And he lives on the other side of the Yamuna River. His ashram is over there. So God said, all right, I'm not a yogi, I'm not God, but I will take you. I will take you. I will take you across the river. But how? Listen, you go to the Yamuna River and stand there in front of Yamuna and bow your head, fold your hands and say, Oh, Mother Yamuna, if Lord Krishna is celibate, then reveal a path for us to follow. When the gopis heard this, they all started to laugh. That he is an eternal celibate, and yet they're saying that the gopis started laughing. That he is celibate, he's the beloved of all of us. That's our own personal experience. And he is fooling us. So some gopis said, you know what, we'll say it. What harm? How is it harmful to us? And if we don't, if Yamuna does not give us path to follow, then we'll come back to him and we will beat him up. They all went to Yamuna River and they all said, Yamuna Maiya, O Mother Yamuna, please reveal a path for us to follow. If Shri Krishna is indeed Akhanda Brahmachari, if he follows the rules of celibacy, which has not been broken, then give us a path. And they got the Yamuna Maiya gave them the path. All the water evaporated. All the water of the river just became dry. The river became dry. Now the gopis were very, very surprised, and they said, well, first let's go and do what we need to do. We will feed Durvasa Muni, then we will ask him what was happening. The gopis went to Durvasa Muni, and there were hundreds of gopis, thousands of gopis. And they had all brought some delicacy like halwa, marpudi, etc. And they had taken all this food, and there was only one person to eat there. That is Durvasa. So Durvasa Muni said, just keep it there and go. And understood that I've eaten it. What? You have eaten it? You haven't even touched it, Babaji. No. We need to break our fast, and we are hungry for many days now. We cannot leave. We cannot leave him. We cannot live even without eating. So Durvasa Muni said, all right, if you don't accept what I have to say, then go ahead, I will eat it. So he ate 1 or 2 puris. So one gopi says, please eat, Guruji, eat what I have brought. Second one says, please eat what I have brought. Third one says, no, please eat my food as well. How will I break the fast? Then Durvasa Muni said, all right then, bring it on. And then he just started eating. He ate everything. All the puris, kachoris, everything that was there. He didn't swallow, he just swallowed it. He didn't chew it. He just swallowed it. Everything. The gopis were delighted, but also surprised. How much can he eat? His stomach is so small, it can't fit all this food. Anyhow, it looks like he's a human. He's not a demon or anything. But when they returned, they said to Shri Krishna, now they told him, now it's time to return. So they're asking Durvasa Muni, Maharaj, now we need to get to the other side. We need to go home. It's midnight and there's no boat that can take us across. So can you help us? He said, yes. He said, my dear daughters, just go ahead and tell Yamuna if it is true that Durvasa Muni has not eaten anything in his life except for green grass, which is called doob, the one who eats doob alone is named Durvasa. So if Durvasa has never eaten anything else but fresh green grass, then let me go. Release me. In other words, sorry, not release me, but reveal a path for us. Now the gopis were even more surprised because they had seen him eating halwa, puri so much, and he's saying he has never eaten anything except for doob. How is this possible? All right, let's try this. They said this to Yamuna Maya that if it is true that the Durvasa Muni has not eaten anything except for grass, please reveal a path. And again, the path was revealed. The gopis were very confused about both Shri Krishna and Durvasa Muni, both guru and disciple, because Durvasa Muni is the guru of Lord Krishna. And Shri Krishna was his disciple. There's a very interesting story that Maharaji tells, and that's about Durvasa Muni. He looked like a madman from the way he would talk, the way he would get angry, and he was a saint. He went to Dwarika and he started saying in the streets, started yelling out, I am a saint, I am a guru, you can accept me and I will take you to God. And then a lot of people got very interested and they came out of their homes. Guruji, yes, I want to be your disciple. Then he said, not so fast. I would have to test you first. And if you fail the test, if you pass it, I'll accept you. If you fail it, I'm going to cut your neck. I'm just going to kill you. And I'll behead you. And people thought, kaise pagal hai? What a madman this is. And so they all went inside the house. They just closed the door. But Shri Krishna came running out of his palace and he said, Guruji, please accept me as your disciple. And Guru said, just because you're a king doesn't mean that you're exempt from the exams. No, please test me as much as you want. So Durvasa said, all right then. But Shri Krishna said, first come to the palace, come and relax. Shri Krishna gave his own palace to Durvasa Muni to stay in. And just a while later, the maid servants and servants are coming to Shri Krishna saying, that Pagal Babaji, that madman Babaji, he has set fire to the palace. Oh, it's okay, it's all right. Guruji, it's Guruji, that's okay. And then Shri Krishna said, now please put him in the other palace. So he was put in another palace. And there he said to Shri Krishna, he said, Mujhe kheer khani hai. I want to eat kheer, rice pudding. So now Rukmini ji, she's getting the kheer. And she doesn't have to make it. She just think it, and the kheer appeared. And he ate some. Then he said to Shri Krishna, he said, what he did was he was eating it. Then he said to Rukmini, Idhar aao, come here. She's very shy. And so she went to him. She looked at her husband. Her husband is telling her by his gestures from the eyes. He's saying, it's okay, it's only Guruji. When Rukmini went to Durvasa Muni, he took some of the kheer, he applied it, he just rubbed it all over her body, smeared it all over her body. Body of a female, and this Babaji is touching that body. And she's mortified, and she's looking at her husband, and the husband is smiling. Guruji, it's okay, everything's fine. And then he gave the remaining kheer to Shri Krishna. He said, go, remove all your clothing, and apply this kheer all over your body. Shri Krishna did exactly that. All right. And he didn't think why. And then after some time, Durvasa Muni said, I want to see your Dwarika. Shri Krishna said, yes, Guruji, of course. And he called for the best horses and the chariot. And Durvasa Muni said, release the horses, unyoke them. How are you going to get a ride through Dwarika? And he said, Krishna, Rukmini, you take the place of the horses. And Rukmini's thinking, what? Me? And she's so gentle, she's so delicate. And she takes the place of one horse, and her husband, Shri Krishna, takes the place of another horse. And Guruji has the whip in his hand. He's saying, you make the horses go by whipping them. So he whips the horse and said, giddy up. And Shri Krishna is running, and Rukminiji is running, and Rukminiji just faints after some time. And Shri Krishna says, Maharaj, would you allow me to take you by myself? He said, yes. So then Rukminiji went away, and Shri Krishna is the only one pulling the chariot, and Durvasa Muni is whipping him from the back. Go faster, go faster. And Shri Krishna is going faster and faster until he reaches the speed of light. Then he asks, Guruji, shall I go faster? Durvasa, no, it's okay. Fine. Let's get back. Then he said, now you can be my disciple. So this is the same Durvasa Muni. His name Durvasa means the one who only eats doob. Doob is a special kind of a very soft grass. It's used in puja and so on. All right. So Durvasa was the guru and Shri Krishna was the disciple. And there were many rumors in Braj. There were some holy people, Babaji, they would say this Shri Krishna is God. Some would say, no, he's a yogi, he's not God. Some would say, he's a scoundrel. He's no God, he's not a yogi, he's a scoundrel, lafanga hai. There were all kinds of rumors about Shri Krishna. So the gopis went to Shri Krishna, and then Shri Krishna explained to them. He said, look, the action in which there is no attachment of the mind, in which the mind is not attached, is not called action. It's only called the work of the senses. Only the sense organs are involved. It's just a work. It's not a karma. Karma means actions that bear fruit. So those are not karma. Those are just actions that bear no consequence. Shri Krishna explained this to them. The actions that are performed by the body and the mind simultaneously is attached to God. This is the Karma Yoga philosophy of the Gita, which is well known throughout the world. Karma Yoga. But how will this happen? How can we do this? How can we keep our mind on God continuously and simultaneously perform works with the body? How can we bring this about at the practical level? How can we make this a practice, everyday practice? At this moment, you people are thinking this is impossible, that you will not be able to do it. You see, when you people learned to ride the bicycle first time, then those of you who do know how to ride a bike, you would have been told by others, look, there's 3 or 4 things you have to keep in mind. You just look ahead and you control the handlebar, and you keep pedaling and keep your balance, right? And I memorized all this. Okay, look straight and keep on pedaling, control the handle. All right, so I was doing that, and I sat on the bicycle, and I told my friends to give me one push. That's it. Now, when they gave me a push, they left me alone. Now, I didn't understand what I should do. I could not do it. But should I control the handle? Should I keep pedaling? What can I do? What can I do? And I fell down, and I had a terrible fall. I got hurt badly. But I had said with lots of confidence, but there was a slope there, and the road wasn't crowded, but those kids, they just pushed the bike, and then I didn't understand, should I do this, should I do that, and should I do that, and I fell down. Anybody would have fallen down. But once you practice for a few days, then you become so much of an expert in bike riding that you are having conversations as you are riding the bike, and you're not even holding on to the handle. Maharaji is sharing with us something from his village. Maharaji ने कहा, हमारे गांव वाले तो सुपारी काटते हुए सरौता से बाकायदा चलते जाते हैं. और कहाँ जाना है ये भी याद है, पीछे हॉर्न हुआ गाड़ी का तो उससे बाएं हो गए सब, ये अभ्यास से इतना हो गया, आप लोगों ने कर लिया. In my village, Maharaji says, and Maharaji loved his village, he loved Mangar. In my village, people riding a bike and they are cutting the betel nut, because it's a lot of people chew pan in Uttar Pradesh, and so he's preparing the ingredients for his pan. He's taking the betel nut and they have to cut it. So he's cutting it with these special scissors that are called sarota. So they're cutting the supari with the sarota, and at the same time, this fellow knows where he's going, where he's heading, and there's a car in the back giving the car driver is giving the horn. He's sounding the horn, so you have to go towards the left, and he's doing everything simultaneously because he has practiced a lot. This is how you have become experts in doing something, because you practice a lot. So the actions of God, of saints, Mahapurush, Mahatma, their actions are actions of Yoga Maya. For them, it's natural that they are doing the works of Maya externally. Inwardly, they have their mind attached to God only. For them, this is very natural. They do not have to work. They do not have to work for this. It's all very natural for them. And that is the answer to the second question. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar Ki Jai. This is the book, once again. Prashnotari Part 2. There's another part to this book, but we are still going to be continuing with this one. Today, when we do the guided meditation, we will not be using the music. Right? Please close your eyes. Shri Krishna is standing before you, and you are doing pranam. You are falling at his lotus feet. Visualize this. As you bow down to his lotus feet, you inhale the fragrance, which is a fake fragrance that you have never inhaled before. His lotus feet have a unique fragrance. So inhale the fragrance of Shri Krishna's lotus feet and behold the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Your eyes are beholding the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Your nose is inhaling the divine fragrance of these lotus feet. Your hands are touching these lotus feet. You're touching them very softly, very gently. So you're receiving the touch of the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. You're experiencing Shri Krishna's lotus feet with these four senses of yours. And now envision that Shri Krishna is lifting you up very gently. And he is looking into your eyes. And his eyes are so full of love and understanding that you break down, you cry. Shri Krishna says, tell me all your concerns, your worries, your tensions, your problems. I know life is not easy. Tell me all your problems and give them to me. Give me all your problems. I will take them. You don't hold on to them. Let me take them. You have become so heavy. Your mind is so heavy with all that concerns you, all that worries you. I want you to be light-hearted. Give them all to me. I shall take care. Trust me to do what is good for you. Trust me. Are you willing to trust me? Shri Krishna is asking you. In your heart, give him the answer. Shri Krishna says, you are my dearest child. I will always give you what is good for you. I may not give you everything you ask for because you do not know what is good for you, but I do. Even the problems that you have in life, they're a gift from me. They teach you many lessons. They make you a better person. They strengthen you. Trust me to give you what you need, not what you ask for. Trust me to give you what is good for you, even though you may not understand that. Shri Krishna says, and my child, never ever think that I am not with you. I'm always with you. Never think that you're all alone in this big world. You are not. Why do you forget that I'm with you always? I cannot forsake you. I have never left you. Never. And I shall never leave you. I am always with you. Always looking out for you. And with this, Shri Krishna gives you a tight hug. He embraces you so lovingly. So lovingly. That tears of happiness are flowing from your eyes non-stop, continuously. Shri Krishna says, I am your everything. I'm not only your Lord, I'm your loving master, I'm your eternal friend. I am your child. I am your beloved. I am everything to you. You have me, says Shri Krishna. Then why do you worry about anything? Always smile. Keep on smiling. Keep on realizing your great fortune in being a human. You were given a human body. I gave you a human birth so that you may love me, so that you may attain me. I know this whole year, says Shri Krishna, more than a year, it has been very challenging. I have been with you all the time. You cannot understand why I do what I do. But will you trust me? Think about this. Give him an answer in your heart. When Shri Krishna asks, do you trust me? Shri Krishna says, sometimes I give someone life. Sometimes I give the gift of death. Sometimes I give name and fame to someone. And sometimes I take it all away. Sometimes I give wealth, sometimes I give poverty. Sometimes fame, sometimes infamy, sometimes richness, sometimes poverty, sometimes life, sometimes death. But no matter what I give, accept everything I give as my prasad. It's my grace. And when you trust me, then there is no fear. There is no fear, no tension, no problem. You will always remain happy. Shri Krishna points to your heart. He touches your heart. And he says, whenever you think that I'm not with you, just bend your head, look into your heart, and you will see me there. बोलिए प्रियतम श्याम सुंदर की जय, श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय. जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.
Thank you, Didi. Radhe Radhe.
Most welcome. Always a pleasure.
Radhe.